Good morning and welcome. Welcome to this live stream, Fight CPS, with your host, Bob Pace. It's a warm welcome because I know fighting CPS is not fun. It's a government entity that you just maybe know nothing about. Uh, we're not educated enough about CPS or what the purpose of it is, and we rely too much on the social workers within the agency. And the problem being is that many of the agencies are corrupt or gone bad. They're rogue is what I call them. And I know that a lot of you have questions, concerns. Now, we have a guest this morning. Good morning, Julianne Montreal. Sarita, I'm supposed to get my visits 3 times a week. Have yet to receive that, and now my worker is going on vacation for 2 weeks. Any help? I'd love to help you, Juliana, and what you can do. That's a very terrible predicament that you're in. It's the letdown, the disappointment because you believe so much that the workers work for you. Good morning, Bartley. Bartley is from Montana. I can't call it yet. My voice is so raspy at the moment. It's my throat. It's okay, Bartley. It's okay. Bartley is a single mom and she has a child she's trying to get back, and her court date's coming up this month. And she's from Montana. Now, Juliette, I have no idea where you're from, but I'd try to help you here. Do you have the paperwork that supports your visitation outlined? Is it a ordered visitation? Did the judge order that visitation? Now, I don't know what kind of attorney you have. If you have a court appointed attorney, that may be a little difficult because they don't work for you, they work for CPS. Also, the social workers don't care. They have their vacation and they care less. It's just like when something goes wrong, you know, it can come to hitching the seat of the pants. Okay, it is court ordered. Do you have a copy of the court order? You need to show that to the social worker. And if the social worker doesn't recognize it, ask her why. Ask her the explanation why you cannot have your visitation as so ordered by the court. And if the social worker is not cooperative, you can always ask for a supervisor. And if that doesn't work, you can ask for the director of your child protection system in whatever state or city that you're in. I have no idea where you're located. You're in California. Well, that was good, but what part of county? Are you LA County, Orange County, Riverside, San Bernardino? Are you in Santa Barbara, Ventura County, San Diego County? I'm trying to figure out what county that you're in. There's 58 counties in California. Okay, the social worker gave you a copy. You're in Los Angeles County. That's called the Department of Family and DCFS, Department of Family Services, Department of Family and Children Services. That's a very difficult county. But you say that she's not allowing you. What is her explanation? Does she tell you anything? Does the social worker tell you anything? For some of you tuning in, I'm talking to Juliana Montreal from California. She's in Los Angeles County, and she has a court order to have visitations, but the social worker is not honoring it and going on vacation. Now, I put up one of my banners there. It's a housekeeping banner. It's basically telling you how to make a comment, and that's really important there. Okay, she can't because they just transferred the case. Do you mean it went from one county to another county? Usually they don't transfer a case. If the incident was in Los Angeles County, then it stays in Los Angeles County. What do you mean transfer the case? I don't understand what you're saying there. Because you can file a 388 motion but that's going to take some time. Well, it goes worker to worker, but it's in the same county, so it should not take time to go from worker to worker. Yeah, Bartley says they transferred her case 4 times, twice out of the county. They don't transfer because the county where the case is where it remains, where it gets resolved. I don't understand why they would do that, except they're just trying to stall time and using horrible tactics that make your life miserable. And I'm really sorry to hear that. I really am. Okay, there's a motion called a 388. What kind of attorney do you have? You have a court appointed attorney or a hired paid professional attorney? What kind of attorney do you have? Okay, there's a disadvantage with court appointed attorneys. They don't work for you, they work for the child protection system. And that is hard. That is hard because they really don't care. They're paid by them and they're hired by them. And so there's a conflict of interest in there. So this 388 motion is that you want to have the judge look at something new. Now, you are claiming that the social worker is not following the court ordered by the judge. So, what you do is you tell your court appointed attorney you want a 388 motion, and that tells the judge within 30 days that you want to present the court with something new. And they has to within 30 days have appearance for the court. That is a shame. Have you tried talking to a supervisor? Have you tried talking to a supervisor? If not a supervisor, you can go to the director of child protection system, the Department of Children and Family Services. They're in LA County, is who you want to talk to, the director. You first try a supervisor of that social worker. It's your rights to ask for a supervisor. You just ask very nicely. I need to speak to a supervisor. Then you show the supervisor your court ordered visitation and explain to them. Okay, the supervisor gave you no answer. Do you have a paper trail with the supervisor? Do you write an email that said request a meeting with you to discuss a visitation of your case? Um, you got to go to the director next. I'm sorry this is taking time, but you're using a court appointed attorney. With a court appointed attorney, you're going to go nowhere. Um, you need to have the judge involved, and to get the judge involved, you need to have that 388 motion. Now, I'm telling you all this morning that when I give out information, it's for education purposes. I'm not an attorney or a lawyer. And I do this from my experience of being on here now for over 2 years and talking to over 2,700 people. I too was a victim of CPS, and I do have, uh, experiences fighting CPS. I've developed 5 rules to follow by uh, that will help you. And if I had those 5 rules, I would never have been involved in CPS. CPS, I'm afraid to tell you, is very corrupt. And LA County is one of the worst ones. And you're at the mercy of social workers that, because of greed and money, want to take advantage of this situation. It's a terrible, terrible, terrible situation that you're in. I know the feeling of helplessness, but you're going to have to document everything. My rule number 2 is document, document, document. And you do that by sending out emails, sort of self-living. It's my understanding you refuse to talk to me, those kinds of things, because they can be used in court against the agency. They can even the court-appointed attorney can present that information. Um, there's always a conflict of interest with court-appointed attorneys. Okay, good morning, Shawnee. Um, Now, Shawnee is new, D. Sherry, I should say Sherry. What can I do if the TRO was used to leverage custody gain under false pretenses? What is a TRO? I know there's a lot of terminology in there, Sherry, but you can do it. The 5 rules are very, very simple. The 5 rules are: one, hire a professional attorney who's schooled and licensed the area of juvenile law, family law, and dependency law, who has fought CPS. 2, document, document, document. Get yourself a big notebook, 6 inches thick, 3-ring binder. Put in there the tabs that can organize the material. You want to have one section for a very important piece of paper that you're going to create called the incident time log. The incident time log is every incident that happens in your case, whether with a social worker or with the police or the school, even your children. So you put the incident, and it involves 3 sentences on a piece of notebook paper. And then you skip a couple lines and put the next incident and the next incident, the next incident. This incident on the first line, you want to put the date and the time and whether it was involved someplace. So you put the location, or if it was on the phone and you put the phone number. Then after that, you want to put the people involved with that incident, list the names. The second line is a summary of what the incident was about, what the incident was about. And then the third line is a summary of the outcome. Is a summary of the outcome of the incident. If the incident's still ongoing, leave it blank, come back later and fill it out when the incident's completed. But you do that for every incident. That way you have a timeline and you can look back, and it helps you with your case in court, with your attorney, and keeping track, because you will not be able to remember all the incidents that happened, because your case may be over a year before it gets completed. It does take time when they have an open case of CPS against you. Keep in mind that this particular entity is interested in money. That's all they want to do is make money. Money. And Sherry, I still don't know where you're from. If you can identify your city or county and state, if you're from outside of the United States, your country, Sherry, a temporary restraining order. Okay, you have a temporary restraining order against your spouse, I assume. Is that what you have? And um, they should never use a restraining order as leverage. It should not be leverage. When you exercise a restraining order, you're asking to have that individual be restrained from seeing you or talking to you. And you have to go to court about it. It's a criminal crime. It isn't a CPS crime. The restraining order is done criminally by someone that wants to it's can be a misdemeanor, but you need to follow up that with court to prove your case to have the restraining order with the individual. I don't know. You see, you guys, Sherry and uh, Juliana, it's hard for me to know the bits and pieces. You all have to really tell me about your story, and I could try to help you out there. So Sherry has a problem with a restraining order that was used as leverage to get custody gained. I don't know the workings of the restraining order. Um, yes, my phone is on. Let me uh, let me check it here. Hold on. Yeah, my phone number's on. Yeah, my phone is live. Um, who said there was no answer? Do you have your phone on? Bartley says, yes, I do. Um, oh, Bartley says that Juliana says was no answer. That was taken from her supervisor. She was not getting anywhere, so she asked to speak to the supervisor, but the supervisor did not give an answer. That's what it has nothing to do with my phone. I was talking to Juliana about how to resolve her matter. Juliana is from the LA County of California, and she has an incident where they refused to honor her court ordered visitations. So I directed Juliana to talk to her supervisor, but she got no answer. But then I told her to talk to the director of LA County Department of Children and Family Services, that director, to contact the director and tell him what the problem is. Also, she needs to file a motion, a 388 motion, by her court appointed attorney to request that the judge hear a case about having no visitation. Now, Sherry is talking about a temporary restraining order that was issued for a custody agreement that they're trying to get. And I was explaining to Sherry the 5 rules. I had just talked about rule number 2, documentation, and doing the uh, timeline, incident log. That's one documentation. Another one should be where you put your parenting classes and you take all the certificates. That's another section. And then you put your program certificates. If you take a domestic violence class, which is 52 weeks, by the way, or you take a drug rehab program, which involves some time too. It can be anywhere from 6 to a year long. These programs sometimes are really long and stuff. But those are the things there. Now, that was rule number two. You want to put your court order in a section. Um, you also want to think about doing a journal addressed to your children because you're not in touch with your children. And it helps you tell your children how you feel. They may not see it until the case gets resolved, but at least you have something to talk about your case. And also, it records documentation about your case. So that's a journal that you can keep too. You can do it on the computer or you get a journal book and write in there, however you want to do it. Rule number three is you never talk to social workers and you never let them in your home. Too many people are confused because they think they have to open doors to strangers. You don't want to open doors to strangers. You don't know them. They can harm you. The police and the social workers are strangers. When the child protection system comes out and knocks at your door, you want to remain quiet and hide someplace in your home away from the front door. The only way the front door can be opened is if you give them permission to let them in. Or there's an instance where there's yelling and screaming and children are being hurt. They'll break the door in. And third is a warrant, but they have to show you the warrant. And if you don't answer the door, and because that is a time to think about getting an attorney because there's something legally going on. Also, I'm afraid to tell you too that too many people have been shot and killed opening the door. Killed and opened the door. That's a terrible, terrible, terrible thing. Um, Also, when you let them in the house, they're going to want to search your house, and you're not allowed to do that. If you meet them outside, an easy way to get them so they don't demand to get in the house is tell them that. Ask them, is this a legal matter? If it's a legal matter, it's your constitutional rights to be represented by an attorney through all facets of this legal matter. So that's one way to diffuse it. You just tell them very nicely, I need to contact my attorney since this is a legal matter, and I need my attorney present. Could you please give me your name and address, and we'll get back to you and your phone number, and we'll get back to you and arrange a time to meet and talk. Now, you don't want to meet or talk at their office. You don't want to meet or talk in your home. You can meet and talk at a public place because you can record them. And a public place could be the library, Starbucks, McDonald's, those kinds of places. And hopefully, uh, you can record everything that has taken place because it can be used against you to talk to them. That's why you don't want to talk to them. You don't want to talk to them. Now, part of that rule number three is you definitely don't want to give up your child. You don't have to. They have to have a warrant. And so you don't want to give up your child. What you want to do with your children, if you're being investigating, is put them with your relatives, family, or friends temporary till you work this matter out. If your children are in your custody, they're going to come and try to take away the children. And legally, they can't do it without a warrant, but they will do it anyway. They will do it anyway. Now, also, you got to be careful with medical trafficking. What I mean by that is if you take your child in to the emergency room or urgent care, or even go to have a baby at the hospital, there are social workers now that represent the Department of Children and Family Services, uh, the the CPS, the Child Protection System, social workers will actually listen in and deceive you and try to take the child from urgent care or the emergency room at the hospital, or have you do some crazy things if they misdiagnostic the child. I had a case not too long ago, a month and a half ago, where parents were really concerned about their daughter with pains in the abdomen area. But apparently, the place there, all they did is do a sonogram. They didn't do an x ray. Anyway, she had gallstones that were bothering her on the left side. The right side is where your appendix, but they went ahead and ordered appendix to be done and removed. And that was terrible. That was terrible. They had the appendix removed and it wasn't necessary. The child still came home complaining of pains, and they later found out by doing x rays that it was gallstones that were trying to pass through. And it's very painful when these hard gallstones go through. And so that's why there was pain in the abdomen area. The child was only 4 years old. Children very young have a hard time explaining what is wrong with them. It's almost like they, they're at the early stages of their life. And Sherry is from St. Louis, Missouri. Welcome, Sherry. I'm so glad you told me that. I've been restrained from seeing my son by my ex. It's still in effect. That's because they do that purposely to ruin the visitation. Usually it's the mother against the father, but your ex seems to want to retaliate. It sounds like things have gone bad in your relationship. He's trying to take possession. You went to court for the hearing. The judge totally dismissed all evidence, and I've had not been neglectful or no neglect findings. Well, that's good that you got the criminal charges. It's very important a copy of that record be given to your social worker so the social worker can see. And if the restraining order has been dropped, that should be no bearing on the visitations. Both parents should be entitled to visitations, and they should be, as much as you can. Bartley, I think you understand now. Hope your voice is getting better. Mine was kind of raspy this morning too, so I understand sometimes about that. And so, Sherry, with the restraining order thing, you should be able to have your visitations. Julianne, you're going to have to go to the director to fight your case. I'm sorry that is going like that. Now, another way to interact with this live stream um, is to be a guest. You can be a guest on my live stream. All you do is email me, Bob Pace at vincentwdavis.com. And there are 14 live streams I do a week. My morning show is this one, Fight CPS with Bob Pace. It's on weekends at 8 a.m. and on weekdays at 10 a.m. But my other show is a nighttime show, an evening show, and typically it's on at 7 p.m. And those times I'm giving to are the west coast of California. They're Pacific Standard Time. So if you're in the mountains, at mountain time, you're 1 hour ahead of me. In Central Time, you're 2 hours ahead of me. So if you're in Texas, you're 2 hours ahead of me. Montana, you're 1 hour ahead of me. And on the East Coast, you're 3 hours ahead of me. So if you're in North Carolina or Ohio, you're 3 hours ahead of me. And then if you're over in England or the United Kingdom, you're 8 hours ahead of me. And in Europe, you're 9 hours ahead of me. In Africa, you're 9 hours ahead of me. As I told you, this is an international live stream. I mean, anywhere anybody has internet can hear or see this live stream. and I have had 24 countries call or text in. I've had Indonesia, Bangladesh, India, then up in the Middle East, I've had Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and then I've had Libya. Then over the continent of Africa, I've had Liberia, Sudan, Republic of Congo, Rwanda, Mozambique, and the provinces of South Africa. Then up to Europe, I've had the United Kingdom, England, Scotland, and Wales, and then Denmark and Sweden. Then across the pond to North America, I've had Canada and its provinces. I've had all 50 states in the US that have either texted or called in. Also, I've heard from Washington, D.C., then south of border, Mexico, and then further south in South America, north of Brazil, on the East Coast, Grenada. And then in the South Pacific, I've had New Zealand and the land down under, Australia and its states. So those 24 countries have the similar problems you're going through. We all have the same problem. We've run into a very corrupt CPS entity that wants nothing more to make money off you. It's a money making proposition to them. They make trillions of dollars. It's all money. So you got to keep that in mind why they do what they do. You got to keep that in mind. Now, to be a guest, when you write me, I will go ahead and contact my show producer. I will send you a link to Steve Yard, and that link you copy and paste your browser will get you onto my live stream. And there I can take up 9 of you. I can do 9 of you. So more the merrier. I love that there. The rules are simple. We respect one another. We do not use profanity. We do not eat or smoke on the show, the live stream. And we do not use the names of children, social workers, or judges. Now, a third way of interacting is to call into my phone number. Now, my phone number is live. It's 626-698-0990. I have a private line, and I use the Vonage. You don't have to have Vonage, but I use Vonage on the Streamline now. Now, Sherry says they came and took her from school, and there is really a weak area there. Schools are always supposed to release children that are listed on your emergency card. If you listed the child protection system, then they can take it from school. But technically, they're in violation. You're not supposed to release children except who's listed in the emergency on the emergency set of the card. So that was wrong what they're doing. But they'll get away with it. They'll come with police. They'll look very official, very intimidating. Now, the police are always supposed to protect social workers, but they use social workers use them for intimidating. And so, that being said, I'm sorry that happened to you. They weren't supposed to do that, Sherry. They certainly were not supposed to do that. Now, Sherry is from St. Louis, Missouri. Bartley is from Montana. And Juliana is from Los Angeles County in California. Well, I want to help you. I really do. That's why I'm doing it on here. I've been fighting CPS for 15 years. I'm a loving husband and a father. I have 43 years of marriage experience and have raised 6 children. And I have 5 of my children that are married and have really productive lives. They have a family. My youngest child is still not married yet. He's only 20 years old. So they run from 47 to 20. So I have a well versed time. Sadly, half of my children were stolen from me and trafficked into foster care. And I had to fight them for years to get them back. I also had to sell my forever home to hire an attorney to get them. So I had taken 45 years to get my home, but then I did a quick sale so that I could hire my attorney. And speaking of attorneys, one of the top attorneys I have that I work for, his name is Vincent W. Davis. His name is shown on the right hand top corner there. The phone number of his office is 888-888-6582. You can call in there to get talk to reception. Make sure you tell reception that Bob Pace sent you, and you can go ahead and get information about how to fight CPS. There are books and guides you can purchase. There's also um, the live stream. Other people do live stream besides myself. I think I'm the only one that does it 14 live streams a week. And I've been doing that now for 24 months. This marks my third year that I've been doing this continuously. So I really um, encourage you to come forward with your questions and concerns, and I'll do my best to answer them, to help you with education, because the CPS is fighting CPS is like open heart surgery. It's very complex. You need a professional lawyer trained in the areas of juvenile law, family law, and dependency law. Now, going back to my rules, I was talking about rule number 3 and about saying no to social workers, don't let them in your home, don't let them take your child, and be careful in emergency rooms, urgent cares, and having a baby because they'll try to take your child then. You don't want them to have that happen, but be aware of that. Rule 4 is how to look up things on the internet. It's so valuable. You can find everything you know about the CPS. There are two search engines that I utilize. One is called the Google Chrome browser. The other one is Chat GPT. Chat GPT is free download and it's very good. It's very thorough. It's done by AI and you get a really good search on it. It's important that you place your information in a format that'll get you good results. The format is you do your city first, your state, and then if you're from outside of the United States, you put your country. Then after that, you want to spell out the child protection system. Spell out the child protection system. And a lot of things will appear for that city and location. If you want to further refine it after the child protection system, put the question you're looking for. What is a 388? What is ICWA 1978, the Indian Child Welfare Act? What is a 160 hearing? What's a 180 hearing? What is a TPR, termination of parental rights? What is the dependency hearing? What is a team meeting? Um, there's all kinds of good things you can find. You can find your uh, juvenile law, family law, and dependency lawyer on there. It'll pop it up. So that's rule number 4 is a proper use of the internet. Rule 5 is to make copies of all your documents, all your legal documents. And um, things like your birth certificate, your marriage license, your driver's license, your school's, your child's report card, your shot records for your child, anything that's an important document, you make copies, put it in an envelope, and have it with your notebook. That envelope will come in handy because CPS will want to know something if you have documentation, and you don't want to mess up and lose your original documents. So Now, Sherry from St. Louis, Missouri says the judge continued with the. Oh, I've already read that. I'm sorry. I need to catch up here further. Okay. I think Sherry was saying, oh, we have a new person in there. I've moved the case to federal due to the process. I was recently wrongfully denied and now appealing state family court. How can you move a child protection system to the federal? Um, child protection entity is not handled by federal courts. I'm really confused there, Sherry, because I've never heard of anybody mention that the child protection system can be handled in the federal courts. The federal courts are at the highest level. That's in Washington, D.C. If you're talking about the state court, that's different, but even the state court does not get involved in the child protection system. It's the level there at the county is deals with that. So unless you're going through an appeal, I'm kind of confused what you meant there. You say you're appealing state family court. Well, I can understand that. You're appealing a decision handed down by the lower courts. You go to the state to have that appeal. Yes, I can see that. Um, Brittany, good to meet you here. Um, I was hoping you would identify where you're from so I can help you. Um, I think you're from Indiana, and the Department of Children's Services, which is CPS, is a joke. I had a screen that was positive, and I asked to take another immediate, and it was negative. They still took them. Now, two are being adopted and it's waiting on finalization. So I think what you're telling me is that you had a complaint by somebody and CPS did an investigation. And I guess the complaint was that you're doing drugs, and you're being tested. Now you have to understand, you can provide your own test results. You go to your insurance and say, I want to have a drug test done. And then they'll set that up and you have to pay your co-payment or wherever the case may be. But you don't want to rely on CPS because they're not doctors, they're not medical professionals, and they could have a mistake there. So that was wrong on there. Now, they are now, I guess, taking away your children because you've tested positive for some type of drug. Now, it could be a medication drug. And how come they're in an adoption process already? I don't know what stage you are in your case. It starts off early on. You guys have to understand, it starts with the investigation. And then they'll try to come out to your home and investigate your home or talk to families and friends and schools about your children or even talk to the children. And then they take them into a temporary shelter. And then from the temporary shelter, they have a team meeting where they sit there with the father and the mother and determine with the social workers where the child will stay temporary. It could be with a family, friends, relatives, somebody, a list you provide them. Then there's your first court hearing. It's a long process. It can involve as much as 10 years. My case took 3 years before I got my children back, but they were never, ever at the adoption phase. There was one incident where my wife's sister wanted to adopt one of our children, and we were able to stop that. Now, Brittany, yeah, I think you're from Indiana. Um, that's okay, Brittany. It's no problem there. I don't know what county or city you're from. That would be good. Now, Sherry says he's licensed in Montana. Who is licensed in Montana? Is that your attorney? Um, So you had to relocate to a new state. I thought your domestic violence was dropped. The case is in Missouri. We live in Texas. When you say we, are you still with the person that you have domestic violence? Sherry, it's very confusing. I'm trying to understand. You could call in and explain it probably a lot better. And I don't know how it's evolved. I've never heard of federal court dealing with a CPS matter. Well, before they can adopt, you got to have certain steps in your case. Have they had a case called determination of your parental rights? Before they can adopt the children, they have to terminate your parental rights. And if they are terminated, then you have a right to appeal. You have a right to appeal that. I still don't know who is licensed in Montana. Um, I don't know if that's MO stands for Montana because you mentioned Texas. Um, your case was in Missouri. Okay, I think it licensed in Missouri. Okay, that means Missouri. All right. He is licensed. Who is he though? Um, your attorney is licensed in Montana. Now, Brittany says she's lost all five of my children now. I'm devastated about losing my three girls now. So you have eight children, Brittany, and you've lost you lost five, and now you're losing three more. How long has your case been going on? And I need more information to help you so I can help you. Now we have Eve. And where are you from, Eve? When the social worker demanded that I take a drug test, I shot her down immediately. When you accept to take a drug test, you're admitting that you do get higher drunk. Well, not necessary, Eve. But I think Eve is from Los Angeles, California. She uses many names, or he uses many names, Eve. But welcome. Um, Brittany says, the police had me take a breathalyzer, so I guess they told CPS, but I'm allowed to have a drink in my own home when they sleep, right? You can have an alcoholic drink in your own home. And you don't want to be really in front of children with that. That creates a bad behavior for the children. Now, having a drink is not a crime. It depends on what level that you had there. And if you are drunk, you cannot take care of your children, so you'd be found negligent. You found negligence in CPS case. You do not want to be drunk if you have responsibility of taking care of children because you got to be fully able. That's a sad part about us parents. We need to sacrifice our recreation habits like smoking or drinking or doing legal drugs. All those things must stop when you have children. I'm sorry to say that because you run a chance of being caught. You have to be coherent to take care of your children. If you're high or drunk, you can't take care of your children. So that's why they get involved in there. Eve says, unfortunately, CPS plays a game. We know that. Um, yeah, I figured you're from Los Angeles, California, because I've had other names with her. Um, we do not use the names of social workers. So if you're in LA County, it's the Department of Children and Family Services, is the CPS system in Los Angeles County. And I have to remove that name because we can't have names of social workers on the show here. Brittany says alcohol. Yes, it's all right to have a drink in your home, but you have to be fully cognizant to take care of your children. If you're high or drunk, you're going to end up neglecting your children. So that's what the bad downside is. You have to sacrifice the need to drink alcohol. Now, Sherry says that her child is not in CPS custody. He is with an ex. That's because the custody arrangements who abused him, and the courts have factual evidence of this. Well, I think you're moving around, Sherry, and it's hard when you're in different states and moving around. You mentioned something about federal. I don't know how the federal's involved in this, but I need more information. E says, what happens to the social workers pull your records? Additionally, they work very close and corruptly with the police. Yes, I know that they work with the police. They use the police to do the intimidations. And all records, if you're a child and you're caught up in foster care, you need to have your foster care removed because they'll come after your children. They come after your children. So you need to have that cleared, expunged off your records that you're in foster care. Now, Brittany says they came at the domestic and then we did a plan, so I had them up to the point of the screen. Boy, I don't understand that at all, Brittany. They came at the domestic and then we did a plan, so I had them up to a point of the screen. Well, did you do a safety plan? Did you use something that was ordered by the judge? Brittany says, my caseworker went over, so it's been 2 years now, and you usually terminate a year here. Well, yeah, this is hard. I know you're talking about your case. Oh, we got a call. We got a call. Okay. Good morning and welcome. This is Bob Pace on live stream. Who do I have the pleasure of talking to? Okay. We lost the caller. Someone did try to call in. We'll call him back. Good morning. This is Bob Pace. You've reached the live stream. How can I help you?
Hi, this is Dee Cherie. I'm actually wanting to just explain my situation.
Oh, I'm so glad that you called in. It's so much easier. My my show is over at 9 o'clock, and I'm running a little bit late, but I can certainly try to help you a little bit here. Go ahead.
Okay, so just pertaining to my case, I have two separate cases. So initialized by actually me filing for contempt. I have a older, middle age, early teen. I was divorced from my ex-husband all the way back in like 2012, 2023. We had a parenting plan that went over a span of like 10 years that I, was executed fine. There was a lot of turbulence in that parenting plan, so there was a lot of time on his part where he did not, conduct as the plan should have, as the plan was stated for, right? So he did not conduct himself in that way. So what began this process is he removed our son at the time for over 30 days. So I contacted the police and I contacted, almost everyone to get my son back home, and he was not releasing our son. So I actually filed contempt. I went to the court because the police told me to file contempt. So I filed contempt. He, in retaliation, did a false CPS report. So I have a document from the CPS report where they report actually, they closed it out. I did exactly as you stated, so I did not allow them in. I don't have any previous abuse allegations. I've actually been an excellent parent with, backing from the school and everything. Move forward in that particular case, what happens is we go to court, we have a trial, and they pretty much commit perjury. And the GAL also begins to withhold my child from myself. They begin this temporary restraining order, and they essentially leverage it to remove my rights and my time with my child, which was in dire need because they finally brought the information before the court. Now the GAL goes ahead. She decides that she doesn't want to speak to me. She's just doing all improper practice. Everything unethical is what she was doing. And she goes along with the attorney for my ex, and they're testifying that they did, or they essentially they lied, and there was no proof of standing with these lies. It was just someone getting up there and saying like, hey, you know, this person had, placed hands or something like that, or abused the child or whatever. The this was backfiring. They did put my child on the stand, and I did speak to my child, just, essentially being coerced, because even when they brought him into the court that day, like, he did not speak to me. They literally, like, walked him right past me, and he did his testifying or whatever, and even with his testifying, it wasn't to anything coerced, my attorney said. It was just basically him agreeing to whatever his dad had said and whatever the additional witness, which was my ex-boyfriend at the time. They both decided to get on the stand and just lie. So the judge goes ahead and makes a judgment and decides that he doesn't want to, basically decides they want to terminate my rights and to place me on child support and give my ex at the time, who I shared 50 custody with for over 10 years, full custody. So that's like the story of my case. And it's ever growing, ever evolving, because I'm back in court as well with my youngest son, and that's who I was trying to explain to down in the chat, because what happened is when they made their judgment for my oldest son, they immediately came right back, and then they came to get my youngest son.
Oh boy.
Separate days, they did the exact same process, but this time they actually removed him from his school.
Yeah. Okay. This is a really complex and very lengthy, and it's going to take more than a few minutes to come up with a solution here. But I'm glad that you found me. And that you've taken the time to bring me up to speed about your case, Sherry. But what we need to do is we need more time. So I'm on again at 7 o'clock this evening, Pacific Standard Time. So I'd like you to call back. You're in St. Louis, Missouri, right?
Actually, as I stated in the chat, that's what I was trying to explain. Like, we relocated to Texas.
Oh, that's right, Texas. So you're on Central Time. So that'd be 9 o'clock your time. Tonight I'll be on 9 o'clock your time. And I know it's a little bit late on Sunday night, but that's my next time that I have a chance to talk to you. Why don't you call me back at about 9:15 my time, the same number, you already got the number there, and we could talk further about your case. Now, you weren't the one that was talking about a federal thing, were you? There's one person here that wanted to talk. That was a federal case.
I was. So
Or how is this a federal case? I don't understand. Federal cases are that's the federal government in Washington, D.C. So how is this a federal case?
So I moved the case to federal because I'm in the same court system. My ex and my ex-husband have the same attorney. And I've been getting like legal abuse and all of these different things. A lot of things I can explain further later. But essentially, I have to remove it to federal for lack of due process, because I am consistently bringing all evidence and information and documentation.
Are you trying to do a civil lawsuit in federal court? Is that what you're trying to do?
No, I actually filed in federal court for it to be actually, Jesus, I'm drawing a blank here. I can't think of what
all right.
The filing was.
I find this very interesting, and I've never heard, unless it's a lawsuit, that you have against CPS, it would involve federal court. But I'd really like to hear more about this. So please call me back. Sherry, I want to thank you very much for talking to me, but I do need to close down the show here, Sherry. So thank you very much for calling in, and bless you. All right, bye-bye. Okay, we had Sherry, who has a very complex case. She's somehow got involved with the federal, and I need to talk to her more. Um, I guess it originated starts in Missouri, but she now lives in Texas. She now lives in Texas, and she has a really bad case and so forth. But um, she's going to call me back. I'm on again tonight at um, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I want to thank Brittany for calling and talking about your case. Brittany, you said something about, oh boy, yours has really gotten worse there. Sorry that I ran out of time to find everything, but I'm glad that Eve from Los Angeles, California is here. Thank you, Eve, for talking and being part of the live stream. I know you've been here before. And Brittany, thank you very much. Wow, really is. I'm trying to catch up with all your cases, Brittany. So, wow. Thank you, Brittany. Yes, I mean, I know it's hard, and sometimes it takes a whole show for people to come up. But thank you, Eve, from Los Angeles, Sherry from Texas, who's going to call back later. Who else do we have here? We have Bartley from Montana. Thank you. And I do need to put up my Doge. This is something you want to do at the federal level. You got the website of the Department of Government Efficiency. You have 2 phone numbers to Washington, D.C. The area code 202 is the White House. And you have an email address to send your documentation to. So if you tried to resolve it at the county level and that didn't work, you went to the state level, that didn't work, this is how you do it at the federal level. This is how you do it at the federal level. So that's going to be on there and stuff. So anyway, thank you, Bartley from Montana, for calling in. And and we have Juliana. I can't forget Juliana. She started off really good with her case. Juliana, let me see here. Okay. Juliana's from Los Angeles, California, too. And then we have Michael. Carlin, I don't know where you're from, Michael, but thank you. Hopefully you'll come back, Michael. Thank you very, very much. So I want to thank everybody in the room. Hopefully I've caught everybody. And it probably took Eve a couple years, Brittany. It probably took a couple years. It took me almost 2 years to get my children back, Brittany. So that being said, now please do not stop fighting for your children. Please get them back. God bless you. And I'll see you tonight at 7 p.m. There's a short video that follows my show. Please watch it. God bless you all and have a wonderful.
A vivid picture is encrypted in your mind as the critics get in line like they're witnessing a crime. But then you notice there's a shiver in your spine from the feelings of discontentment and bitterness combined. Heartbroken when you listen to the judges. Another kid's innocence corrupted, and if you go against then it's destructive. Consider this predicament the toughest, but we believe in a system fit for justice. Child Protective Services only pretends to save it. The one solution for this is worthy of instant praises. 30 years of experience with relentless cases. Allow me to introduce them. This is Vincent Davis, defending you when they don't think a mother fits the role. Is it juvenile dependency or government control? Observe the pain in their eyes. It's time for us to realize we are the last one.